He stopped explaining a long time ago why he prefers silence, why he walks home alone after weddings, why he deletes messages that start with, "We need to talk." People say men today have become cold, but maybe they're just tired of pretending they're not hurting. You can only rebuild your peace so many times before you start guarding it like a sacred place. He knows this now. This isn't about hating love. It's about remembering what love was supposed to mean. Two whole people meeting, not two broken ones trying to fill the same void. So before you judge the man who chooses to walk alone, understand this. He's not avoiding connection. He's avoiding losing himself again. Tonight isn't about bitterness, it's about clarity, about the kind of truth most people only find after they've been broken enough to finally see. The financial trap. Some men don't walk away from love. They walk away from the version that stops feeling like love. He didn't lose faith in love. He just learned what it is when love turns into a contract. You know that moment when you finally stop pretending everything's fine, when you realize that peace is more expensive than you thought. He's seen it happen. Men who worked hard, built everything, and then watched it vanish in courtrooms, in signatures, in promises that changed their shape overnight. You don't hate love. You just hate what it turned you into when you kept pretending you were fine. You've been there, holding something that stopped but feeling like love long before you had the courage to admit it. He used to believe marriage was the ultimate partnership. Two people building a life, shoulder to shoulder. But what he found was a system built on rules that punish one side when things fall apart. Not all love ends badly, but when it does, it takes more than your heart. That's when he realized anything that depends too much on someone else will one day cost you your freedom. Love isn't the problem. It's the way we've built it, full of debts, expectations, transactions dressed as care. You give and give until what you give becomes normal and what you need becomes selfish. He stopped living like that. He started asking harder questions. What am I trading for comfort? What am I paying just to be understood? He found that most men don't fear love. They fear losing themselves in the name of it. That's why so many men stay single now. Not because they've given up, but because they've finally seen what peace costs inside the wrong promise. So he started rebuilding from the only place that can't be taken, himself. Some men leave to find themselves. Others stay and rebuild honesty inside the same house. So he simplified his life. He spent less, needed less. And with every unnecessary thing he removed, he found a piece of himself he thought he'd lost. He stopped saying it's fine when it clearly wasn't. He stopped buying calm with silence. Instead, he started protecting clarity with honesty, saying what he meant and meaning what he said. He realized real stability doesn't come from shared accounts, but from shared truth. He built stillness first, before he tried to build a home, because he'd learned that even a quiet apartment can feel heavy if your mind's still fighting every memory inside it. Not because he gave up on love, but because he learned the hard way. Real love only stays when both people can breathe. Maybe freedom isn't found in earning more, but in learning to live without pretending. Maybe the richest man isn't the one who has the most, but the one who can walk away without anger, without fear, and still sleep well that night. Because what you truly own, your time, your focus, your inner calm, those are the only investments that never break in half. Everything else can be taken, but a man who's free inside can rebuild it all again and again without losing himself. Unequal expectations. He didn't leave because he stopped loving. He left because he got tired of giving everything and being told it wasn't enough. Maybe men aren't the only ones tired of pretending. Women are exhausted too. But this story speaks from the man's silence because that's the side no one listens to. You ever notice how the rules keep changing? Be strong, but not too strong. Be gentle, but never weak. Pay first, but don't make her feel dependent. Lead, but only when it's convenient for her. And the harder you try to play fair, the more you realize the game was never fair to begin with. He used to believe love was about effort, that if he showed up, stayed honest, gave his best, things would naturally fall into place. But somewhere along the way, effort stopped being enough. Every time he met one expectation, 3 more appeared out of nowhere. It's not just her, it's the whole culture around her. Friends, family, social media, everyone telling her what a man should be. Strong but soft. Ambitious but always available. Protective but never controlling. He remembers one night she said, "You've changed." And he wanted to say, "No, I just stopped trying to pass every test you invented." But he didn't. He just got quiet. You know that silence when you stop explaining, but they still think you've changed. That silence, that's when he started to wake up. He realized most people don't want partnership. They want someone to carry their confusion, to fix the holes they refuse to look at. And when you stop carrying, they call you selfish. So he stopped performing, stopped apologizing for needing peace, stopped explaining himself to people who only heard what they wanted. Maybe it's not that men are afraid of love. Maybe they're just tired of performing for it. If you're tired of passing tests you didn't ask for, drop the code unfair 2.0 in the comments. Let the man next to you know his clarity is valid. And if this part felt worth keeping, tap like. It helps the algorithm hand this to the next person who needs it. He didn't walk away angry. He walked away clear. Being single became less about loneliness, more about clarity. No mixed signals, no games, just space to rebuild his center. Now when someone asks him what kind of woman he's looking for, he doesn't say loyal or beautiful. He says, someone who's tired of pretending to. Because real connection doesn't need performance. It needs honesty. It needs rest. 2 people who've had enough of the game and just want something real. Maybe equality isn't about splitting bills. Maybe it's about sharing calm. Maybe love isn't how much you give, but how real you can stay while giving it. The loss of peace. He didn't notice when it started. It wasn't one big fight, just 100 small ones. Little arguments that drained more than they solved. Moments of walking on eggshells, pretending calm meant love. He told himself it was normal. That's what love requires: compromise, patience, effort. But deep down, he knew the truth. Love shouldn't feel like a full-time crisis management job. One morning, he looked at himself in the mirror, eyes tired, mind scattered, and realized he hadn't had a quiet thought in months, not one. Every minute was spent managing someone else's emotions. Every day, another small part of him went missing. If you've ever felt that kind of exhaustion, don't blame yourself for breaking down. That's when he understood. Chaos doesn't always come with shouting. Now he wakes up and asks, what can I do today to feel clear? That difference changed in everything. You keep saying you're fine, but can't remember the last time you really rested. It's refusing to argue with storms that aren't yours. It's learning that silence can protect you, not punish you. Being single taught him that. Not the loneliness, the quiet, the way the world sounds when no one's demanding your constant reassurance. The way your own thoughts finally have room to breathe. He stopped chasing calm with others and started building it within himself. That was the quiet turning point. When a man realizes stillness alone is still stillness, and stillness shared with the wrong person is just noise. And that's when calm stopped feeling like escape and started feeling like direction. He found that quiet doesn't mean no noise. It means no noise inside you. If you're still in the relationship, start with 1 hour a day that's yours. Not to run away, but to remember who you are when no one's watching. And once you taste that kind of calm, you never trade it again. Not for comfort, not for company, not even for love that costs your clarity. If you're still carrying someone who once made you doubt your worth, it's okay. You're not weak for missing them. It only means you love deeply enough to learn what peace should never have to cost. The death of the individual. He didn't notice when it started. At first, it looked like love. Two people sharing everything, blending lives, dreams, and choices. But slowly, something inside him began to fade. Not all at once, just small pieces. A song he stopped playing because she didn't like it. A friend he stopped meeting because she didn't approve. A dream he delayed because it made her uncomfortable. That's how it happens. You don't lose yourself in one grand sacrifice. You dissolve through 1,000 small concessions. He used to think that's what maturity meant. Compromise, understanding, keeping the peace. But one day he realized peace built on pretending isn't peace at all. He remembered what his mentor once told him. You can't keep someone's love by becoming smaller. You only teach them that shrinking is your way of staying. That night he sat alone, no noise, no phone, no voice but his own. And for the first time in years, he asked, "What do I even like anymore?" The silence didn't answer, but it started clearing space. That's when he understood what Marcus Aurelius meant when he wrote, "If you lose your integrity, what remains that is worth keeping?" He realized love without individuality isn't love. It's dependency dressed in poetry. He'd been told that partnership meant merging souls, but maybe it means standing side by side, not standing inside one another. He stopped explaining why he needed an hour alone and just took it. He stopped asking for permission to exist. He stopped apologizing for wanting solitude. He stopped calling his needs too much. Slowly, he learned that boundaries aren't walls. They're doors that lead you back to yourself. You've done that too. I called it selfish when it was really self-respect. It wasn't easy. Some days, silence felt like losing. But the longer he stayed with it, the more it started to sound like himself. And piece by piece, he came back. Not as who he was, but as who he never allowed himself to become. He learned that the truest form of connection doesn't require you to lose yourself. It requires you to know yourself. Because love isn't about becoming one. It's about remaining whole while choosing to walk beside another, freely, consciously, and without fear of being alone again. By now, he's learned what love can cost: money, peace, even himself. But what comes next cuts deeper. When love turns into a full-time job for one person. But the strange thing about starting over is that the silence begins to sound like hope. The emotional labor trap. You can love someone deeply and still lose yourself trying to keep them stable. He thought love meant showing up, being steady, dependable, the kind of man who carried the weight when others couldn't. But slowly that weight stopped being shared. It became his alone. Every time she said, "I just need you to listen," what she really meant was, "Fix this for me." It's not always her fault. Sometimes both sides are just trying to survive their own chaos, but only one gets blamed for not smiling through it. He didn't notice how it changed him, how his voice got quieter, how his laughter felt rehearsed, how every "I'm fine" was just code for "I don't have space to break." They said that's what strong men do, hold it together. But nobody warned him that holding it all would cost him his joy. He once said, "I don't mind fixing things. I just wish I'd married a woman, not a group project." Some men meditate, others just sit in their cars until the chaos stops echoing. He tried to talk once, but the room went cold. "You're being too sensitive. You always make it about you." So he stopped talking. He learned that silence keeps the peace, but it also builds the cage. You've built that cage before, with patience that no one noticed. For years, he mistook endurance for love. He thought staying meant caring, but real love doesn't need to be rescued every day. It doesn't make you the only one trying to hold the roof up. One night, he sat in his car long after the rain stopped and realized he wasn't tired of her. He was tired of being everyone's stability but his own. There's nothing wrong with being the strong one until it starts costing you the parts of yourself no one ever sees. You're not broken for needing rest. You're human for finally admitting it. Maybe you felt that too, showing up for everyone, but no one showing up for you. He chose solitude, not to escape people, but to finally meet himself without the weight of saving anyone. Then he did the unthinkable. He let things fall. He stopped fixing every problem, stopped chasing every apology, stopped rescuing what refused to grow. And for the first time, nothing fell apart, except the illusion that he had to hold it all. Even exhaustion can be holy, if it's the kind that finally makes you stop pretending. If you want more conversations like this, quiet, honest, no noise, hit subscribe. If you finally chose self-preservation over performance, comment, let it fall. You earn that peace. And share this with the one man who needs to remember he's human, not a fortress. At first, the silence felt cold, then it felt clean, and finally, it felt like breathing again. He learned that peace isn't found in how much you carry, but in how much you release. Healing didn't come all at once. It came in quiet, almost invisible ways. A little more breath, a little less pretending. That empathy without boundaries is self-erasure. That saving people who refuse to swim only teaches them you'll drown for free. Now, when someone collapses into chaos, he listens, but doesn't absorb. He helps, but doesn't disappear. He cares, but never at the cost of his clarity, because peace isn't passive. It's a decision. It's knowing when to hold on and when to finally set the weight down. And once he stopped fixing others, he finally noticed how much of himself had been quietly fading too. The loss of focus. He used to wake up with clarity, a sense of direction, a hunger to build, but somewhere along the way, his attention stopped belonging to him. Every message pulled a thread. Every request took a piece, and soon his mind became a crowded room where everyone spoke but him. He didn't even notice the shift. Love became a stream of notifications. Why didn't you text back? Where are you? Why didn't you post about me? At first, it seemed normal, part of modern connection. Until he realized his time was no longer his. His focus, once sharp, deep, precise, was now fractured by 1,000 invisible demands. He began to see how easily life turns into noise, and how the modern world rewards distraction but punishes depth. You can't build anything meaningful when your attention belongs to everyone but you. He remembered something a mentor once told him: your focus is your life. Whatever steals it owns you. That line haunted him for months. And he realized this: distraction is not harmless. It's slow self-erasure. He used to confuse presence with availability. Now he knows they're opposites. He stopped answering messages the second they came. Not out of pride, but because not every knock deserves an open door. So he began to protect his solitude like a craftsman protects his tools. He learned to say no, not out of anger, but out of alignment. Some days he still fails. Some days he forgets and checks his phone too soon. But every time he returns to stillness, It greets him like an old friend. He deleted what drained him. He stopped explaining his silence. He made peace with being misunderstood. You can't control how others see you, but you can choose not to lose focus trying to fix their view. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." He didn't truly understand that until he saw how modern love and noise had turned his thoughts into a marketplace. Now his mornings are quiet again. He sits with a cup of coffee, no notifications, no audience, just breath and thought. And in that stillness, the mind that once felt scattered begins to sharpen again. Not because he escaped the world, but because he finally stopped trying to keep up with it. He realized that attention is the purest form of devotion. That's why he stopped giving it to people who only half listened. And whoever controls it controls the direction of your life. So he took it back. His time, his mind, his power. And for the first time in years, he could hear himself think. Now let's face the ultimate illusion we build noise to avoid: the fear of dying alone. It's strange how healing doesn't begin when everything's calm. It begins when you finally stop running. He used to chase noise, thinking it made him alive. But silence, the kind he once feared, became the first real proof that he'd survived. He used to believe solitude was a punishment. Now he knows it's the only place where he ever heard his own voice clearly. The world teaches you to panic when you're alone, as if silence itself is a disease. But sometimes it's the only honest conversation you'll ever have. He remembers when he couldn't stand it. He'd turn on music, scroll through messages, call someone, anyone, just to escape that quiet. Because the quiet kept asking questions he didn't want to answer. The mind spoke first. "You're alone." He answered, "I'm finally listening." The mind whispered, "You'll die this way." He smiled, "Then I'll die in peace." The mind pushed back. "You miss her." He said, "No. I miss who I was when I didn't know myself." And for the first time, silence had nothing left to say. The truth came slow, but it came clean. Afraid to face the things he'd buried under noise, faces, and validation. But when he finally stopped running, something unexpected happened. The silence didn't hurt anymore. It started to heal. He stopped feeling empty and started feeling clear. He stopped waiting for someone to witness him and started witnessing himself. He once read a line that said, "The man who learns to walk alone will go further than the man who constantly seeks company." He didn't understand it then. He does now. Because aloneness isn't the same as loneliness. Loneliness is resistance, the mind fighting what the heart already knows. Aloneness is acceptance, a peace earned through honesty. Now his days are simple: coffee, work, silence. No one to impress, no one to perform for. And in that stillness, he found something the crowd never gave him. Presence he still loves. He still connects. But he no longer fears the space between people. That space is where truth breathes. That's where calm lives. And when death finally comes, it won't find him afraid or unfinished. It'll find him steady, because he's already met solitude and learned it was never his enemy. And in that quiet acceptance, something shifted. Solitude stopped being a scar. It became a sanctuary, the kind of peace no one can give you and no one can take away. You don't need someone to prove you're still lovable. The proof is in the fact that you're still here, still trying to grow without turning bitter. That strength most people never reach. The illusion of perfection. One night it wasn't even a fight, just a quiet dinner where no one spoke. The kind of silence that says, we've stopped looking for what's good. In almost every relationship, there comes that quiet shift, when eyes stop searching for what's beautiful and start scanning for what's wrong. It doesn't begin with anger. It begins with blindness, the gentle kind that forgets to see what's already working. At first, every smile feels like sunlight. Every small gesture feels sacred. But comfort arrives and gratitude fades. The things that once lifted your heart become things you expect. And expectation slowly kills appreciation. He's lived that story. He's loved deeply and still watched it rot from the inside. Not because the love died, but because both of them stopped celebrating what was right. She became too quiet. He became too distant. No one meant to change. They just stopped magnifying what was beautiful. That's the silent reason so many men stay single now. They've seen how fast love turns heavy when eyes forget to praise what's good. Once you stop seeing beauty in someone, you'll only see reasons to leave. It's not just her, it's everyone. We all fall into the same trap, confusing perfection with presence and mistaking familiarity for failure. He remembers what a wiser man told him once. Peace doesn't die because people fail. It dies because people forget to honor what still works. That line hit deep because it wasn't about her. It was about him. He realized he'd done the same thing without his mother, his friends, himself, always counting what was missing, rarely naming what still held him together. So he started retraining his attention, not to measure, but to magnify. Every morning he practiced naming 3 things that still worked. Not big things, just small proofs of life. The warmth of coffee, the sound of rain, the way someone still answered the phone when he called. At first, it felt silly. Then it felt sacred, because what you choose to magnify starts to shape the world you see. He learned this truth the hard way. You don't find calm by finding perfect people. You find it by protecting the good that's already there. Because if you stop making what's good look bigger, what's broken will take over your sight. And that's how love, any love, quietly dies. So before you scroll away, remember this. Maybe the real test of love isn't how much you can fix, but how much beauty you can still see when things aren't perfect anymore. If that line stays with you, press like, not for me, but as a reminder for yourself tomorrow. Your assignment for today is magnified attention. Before your mind complains, find 3 things you still honor. Drop your 3 honors in the comments. We find peace by protecting what's good. The social illusion. Modern love rarely begins in silence. It begins on stage. Perfect lighting, perfect captions, perfect masks. 2 people fall in love, but only one of them is real. The other is a highlight reel. A perfect smile, perfect trip, perfect quote about love. Everything curated, filtered, rehearsed. And for a while, that illusion feels enough. Until the day they meet the person behind it. You can see it everywhere. People performing connection, but avoiding honesty. We've all become our own marketers, selling images instead of souls, profiles instead of presence. And then we wonder why connection feels fragile, why trust disappears the moment reality shows up. He remembers a friend who married the woman he met online. She was elegant, confident, magnetic. But when they moved in together, he realized he didn't marry the woman from her photos. He married the one behind her screen. The one who was always anxious, always comparing, always chasing approval from people she didn't even know. That's what social media does. It teaches us to love masks, not faces. And when the mask comes off, we call it disappointment. But it's not disappointment, it's disconnection between the image and the truth. He's guilty of it too. He used to post moments that looked peaceful, even when he was empty inside, because being seen as okay felt safer than being honest. But every time he performed, he moved further away from himself. He remembers reading a line from Seneca, "The more one judges by appearances, the farther he is from the truth." That was the day he stopped polishing his image and started building his integrity. Now, he doesn't want to be admired. He wants to be understood. He doesn't want to be followed. He wants to be known. Because when people fall in love with your image, you have to keep performing to be loved. But when they fall in love with your truth, you get to rest. So he stopped curating, stopped explaining, stopped pretending to be fine, like the right people stayed, the wrong ones vanished. And what remained wasn't fame or validation, but peace. That's the quiet power of being real. You might lose the crowd, but you'll finally meet yourself. And maybe that's why so many men stay single now, not out of pride, but out of honesty. You've seen it too. The version of yourself you post isn't the one that sleeps beside you. They're done performing. They just want something real enough to stop pretending. Do you think people today still know how to love without performing? I'd love to hear what you've seen. He no longer explains why he walks alone. He just smiles, because he knows where the noise ends and the truth begins. For years, he chased connection like oxygen, believing love meant losing pieces of himself to prove he cared. But peace taught him something different. You can only share what you have already made whole. He's not against love. He's against losing his reflection inside someone else's story. He's against giving the best parts of his soul to people who confuse effort with ownership. And maybe that's why men stay single now. Not out of bitterness, but out of clarity. They've stopped apologizing for choosing peace over approval, solitude over noise, authenticity over performance. He remembers something Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." That's what this journey became. Not a rejection of the world, but a return to the inner home he'd abandoned chasing it. He learned that real love doesn't ask you to shrink. It invites you to expand. It doesn't take away your freedom. It grows inside it. So he no longer fears the empty room, the unanswered call, the quiet night. He's built peace there. And from that peace, he'll build again. Not out of loneliness, but out of strength. Because peace isn't meant to stay locked away. It's meant to be shared. With friends, with work, with the world that still needs calm men more than ever. Solitude was never the end. It was the training ground. Because a man who becomes whole on his own will never beg to be completed. He'll still want someone, but he'll no longer need them to breathe. He'll share love, not need it. He'll give, not perform. He'll walk alone, but never feel alone. If this spoke to something you've lived, thank you for staying till the end. You're watching Move or Die Stoic, where solitude is not an end, it's the training ground for clarity. If you choose truth over comfort, subscribe. We build peace here. Stay awake, stay real, stay free.